folks, I'm Vasel here, and welcome to Best of Publisher series, where we take a look at different publishers and tell you my favorite 10 games from those publishers. Today we're taking a look at kind of two publishers, but one bought the other, so they're the same basically, and that's Pandasaurus and IDW. Now, Pandasaurus was started way back, and one of the things that Pandasaurus first was kind of known for was they were like looking for older games and bringing them back and publishing them. Actually, it's funny because that's the way a lot of companies start, but they never stay that way, right? And so they had brought back Great Fire of London, they brought back Tammany Hall and some other games, and they printed them. Eventually, Pandasaurus was bought by IDW. IDW, one of the biggest comic book companies in the world, brought in all their comic book licenses. And so some of the games that came from the IDW/Pandasaurus had these licenses on them. And not just comic book licenses, but the license to properties like we see Orphan Black and X-Files and Back to the Future and things. IDW is probably, if you ask people in the hobby, they're probably not always known for their great quality, although their quality has improved in latest games. Sometimes their games feel half-baked, but they also have some really good ones. It was not hard for me to make a top 10, so here we go. Number 10 from Rob Daviau, who is known for a lot of different things, mostly for taking Hasbro games and making them good. But this is V-Wars. This one I think is based on a comic book about vampires who are going up against humans, and so you're working together. But some people are like wanting the vampires to win, and some people want the humans to win. There's an uneasy peace, fighting and different things. It's kind of a sprawling game, and not too big though. With a world map and different crises that are appearing in different places, and you have to kind of calm these things down. This one kind of just came and went. I haven't heard many people talking about it, but it's one worth looking at. That's V-Wars. Number 9 is String Safari. Now, this game was originally from Japan, but this one was reprinted. I love String Safari. You have these different animals that you're going to place on a map, and then you are taking a string and you are trying to put as many of the animals in this string circle as you can, kind of like take a picture of them. Really cool concept, easy to jump into and play, but it's unique, right? How many games have you do that? Put a string around things and try to get as many points as you can. I really like the idea of it. It's a sequel to String Railways, but I think I like String Safari better. Number 8 is probably the most successful IDW Pandasaurus game, easily. When this one first came from Japan and I played it, I said, wow. You know, someone's got to reprint this. This game is going to sell a pile, and it did, and that is Machikoro. Machikoro, which is a little like Settlers of Catan, except it's just cards. And as you take these cards and as you play them, as you collect these cards, and each turn players roll dice, and depending what numbers are rolled, depends what happens on your cards, and you get different resources, and then you use those resources to get other cards. There's many expansions for this game. I've seen this game played many, many times. For me, I don't like it as much as everyone else does, but I think it's still a solid, fun game, Machikoro. Number 7 is Cat Tower. Meow. Cat Tower is essentially a bunch of cards that you fold so they look like cats, and then you stack them on top of each other. Now, you might be expecting there to be a twist now. No, that's pretty much the whole game. There's some other things, you know, where you put different tokens on the towers and things. But for the most part, you're stacking cards. There's really only 2 of these games. One's Rhino Hero from Haba, and the other is Cat Tower from IDW. Both I have because both go over really well, and they're hilarious to play. Number 6 for me is Tammany Hall. I mentioned this earlier. Tammany Hall is kind of like a look back at when New York was full of corrupt politicians, and you are a politician in this game using different methodologies to try to control regions. Tammany Hall, if I was going to describe it in one word, it would be mean. If I was going to describe it in 2 words, I'd call it very mean. And in 3 words, very, very mean, etc. Tammany Hall is a game in which players try to control, but you're constantly going after other players. It's cutthroat, it's nasty, it's mean, but there's also a lot of good strategy, and it is very well regarded. That's Tammany Hall. Number 5 is Arcane Academy. This just came out last year. Arcane Academy is a game, I believe it's Eric Lang and Kevin Wilson cooperated to make a game where you basically have a grid of cards, and you're putting cards out and activating these cards to get different resources so that you can basically play cards from your hands and accomplish goals. But as you put these cards out, some of them will sync up with each other, and when you activate this one, I can activate these 2 cards at the same time. And so you're trying to make the most profitable engine here in front of you of getting magic and different things to then play your cards. Really good game. I was not expecting this one to be that exciting at all, but it's a solid, fun game, Arcane Academy. Number 4 is Yido. You ever hear of Yido? Well, many people know a game called Lords of Waterdeep. Lords of Waterdeep is a really fun game from the Dungeons & Dragons universe in which you're placing different people and going off on missions. Yido has a very similar feel to that, where you are placing workers and sending off on samurai missions. Except Yido ups it to 11. Like Lords of Waterdeep probably is a better game. It's simpler and easier to get into, but Yido has a whole lot more options. So if you're looking for more of our game, Yido has that. You know, you need to collect weapons to go on missions. You need to go over here. You can go beg at the church. You can do. There's so many different things to go and places to do, and it's beautiful and gorgeous. Really cool game, Yido. Number 3 is Dragon's Gold. Now, Dragon's Gold was originally from White Goblin Games, got picked up by different companies, but the last one that I played is IDW. Dragon's Gold is a bluffing game, or not a bluffing game, a negotiation game, but it's almost unlike any other negotiation. In this game, you are slaying dragons. You put out people to slay dragons. Eventually, dragons get killed. It's not hard to kill them. They die. Then they have loot. Now, you and me and maybe someone else, we have to split this loot. We have 1 minute to figure out how to split this loot, or 30 seconds, I think. I don't remember the time exactly. But we have to split this loot, and we have to decide. And if we cannot all agree exactly, then no one gets anything. Oh, wow. And you can't use future deals. You can't use past deals. You got to decide right then, there, and now. And the different treasures are worth different amounts. It is great fun for me. I love the concept of the game as you're trying to collect different things, trying to get points with different treasures, and yet you have to make a deal. How are you going to do that? Number 2 is Lost Valley. Now, Lost Valley is a game that I really enjoy. It's on my shelf somewhere around here because I think that the game itself is a lot of fun as you go and you're panning for gold in the valley. This is a great, unique theme. And each player is a prospector, and you're going out and you move and take an action. And it's very simple. You're moving and taking actions. You might be panning for river gold or looking for that better mountain gold. And you're fishing and hunting and all these different things. And Pandasaurus did a really good job at streamlining parts of the game. If the components have been greater, this might have even hit number 1. But it's just a solid game. It's fast. I do my turn, you do your turn, I do my turn, I do your turn. Has a sense of adventure. Really, really entertaining game, Lost Valley. And my favorite game just came out from IDW in the past couple months, and this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shadows of the Past. And this one, I'm not sorry to say that I had not had high hopes for it, right? It was a licensed game. You'll notice there's not a ton of licensed games on my IDW Pandasaurus list because I haven't thought that they have all been that fantastic, but this one really blew me away. First of all, it brought the Turtles theme to life. You are playing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It has cool miniatures. It's a fast game with scenario-based, but each scenario is really quick and entertaining. But it has a dice mechanism in it that really promotes teamwork amongst the Turtles. It has a deck mechanism that really gives the bad guy, whoever's playing the Foot Clan and the other ninjas and whatever, gives him some really strategic choices, and he actually is playing as hard as he can, or she can, against the people playing the Turtles, and I think that that's a cool concept. It just comes together. It's a really great package. It's on my shelf. Love this game. One of my favorite games from 2016, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shadows of the Past. So those are my favorite games from IDW and /Pandasaurus. Tell me what yours are in the comments. I'd love to hear back from you guys. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. You've been watching Best of Publishers, IDW, and Pandasaurus.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.